Hello and welcome to the show. My name is Ruben Fontanilla.
And I'm Peter Wong, and welcome to the World Anime. For all you new viewers out there who haven't noticed us yet, we're a new show out that tries to focus on anime and anime reviews.
And also, this is a show that's going to be focusing on upcoming events related to anime, such as conventions, and also such as new releases from distributors.
Really? Since when?
Since now, man.
Hey, that wasn't in my contract.
It's public access, dude. Tell you what, leave the jokes to me, alright?
Alright. With that in mind, I guess that we got informed about what happened last while back here in the San Francisco area. Because they had a showing of the special edition subtitle version of Barefoot Gen that was playing at the Asian Art Museum. So I don't know, we guys here at the World of Anime have decided to feature the title as our as a movie to review for this show.
God, that was one hell of a nuke scene. It is a touching story about a family's struggle through this ordeal. And now, for the rest of the movie, I do have to say that Barefoot Gen was pretty good. The storyline was pretty consistent. I find it pretty believable, and also that I feel apathy towards the characters of this movie because it was well scripted and it was well animated. I would definitely recommend that Barefoot Gen be watched, especially for that part.
I don't know about that part, but I do agree that this movie does deserve a watching and a chance to experience. Being such a tragic story as it was, and of its caliber of how depth and how strong the material and realism that it portrays, this was a very intense movie. So I felt that even as graphic and violent that some portions of the movie may seem or come across, I feel that the movie does deliver a very nice and positive message of hope and surviving, and how it shows how strong the human spirit is in dealing with hardships. Another factor that I really liked about it was how well the music was. The opening theme song and the ending was a nice, good bonus to it because most times animation does require good musical talent.
All right, well, I don't mean to cut you in there, Peter, but you're talking about human spirit and spiritual hope. Yeah, you definitely saw a lot of spirits down there, but I'm not so much for hope there. Take a good look at that kid there. You have to be more specific. What do you mean by this show conveys hope and spirit? Because I saw lots of spirit, but no hope.
Well, the one thing that I felt that the movie did show, the hopefulness wasn't in the aspect that, people were, dying and all this catastrophe was happening. It was more like how the family was coping with the situation and how positive that the family was.
I see.
And how even while the family was in state of hunger and depression, they were able to lift up their spirits and of their mother's newborn child that was expecting. And there were really great energy that the family was conveying, and they stuck together very strong and really did it tightly.
Right.
But then again, with that in mind, I don't see how the movie itself portray any believability or that or realism, because there was no way how that Gen in the center of the movie where he was at ground zero, he was able to survive such a impact of the atomic bombing, whereas where he was standing right next to a girl who didn't survive and he wasn't much closer, but I guess if you drop the coin and then they're ducked in cover, anyone can survive through atomic bombing. And
Well, okay, fine. Well, my turn to do some talking here. Let me defend my point here. What I mean by it is believable. What I meant to say was that even during this catastrophe, people can still survive. And not only survive, but to also thrive and to be able to carry on your daily life. To be able to go on and to put the ordeal behind you. That's what I meant in this movie when I said that it was believable. Now, for instance, there that in this movie, the original writer of Barefoot Gen was an actual survivor of the Hiroshima blast. So what I'm trying to say is that you can survive, and this movie is very possible because of people's will to want to be able to go on and put things behind them.
Oh, that's extremely true. As a sympathetic viewer, such as me and most other people, viewing such tragic events such as the Hiroshima bombing, people would like to see good things happen, hopeful things happen, and seeing how Gan and his family, most parts of anyway, were able to survive, and you would like to see a nice happy ending compared to other movies that featured the theme of atomic bombings and the war of during World War II. So overall, I do recommend this movie. It had great cinematic feel to it, animation, nice music score. So overall, I would give it a C plus.
Well, I, on the other hand, I'm not so critical like you, but I also have a rating. I preferably would give it an A just for the bombing scene alone, but this is a tragedy. And so we have to analyze the rest of the movie, which was overall pretty good for a Japanese animation that takes on a very serious topic, such as the bombing of Hiroshima. And therefore, the score, as you said, was good. It was well written, and it was well animated, and I give it an overall rating of A.
Okay, so for both of us, after viewing this movie, we've come up to a consensus that this movie itself deserves an overall B rating. B in general means that how it should be watched. It's a very great, good movie, and that it shows excellent experiences and potential, and like fun fact. Well, not fun factor, but also
Fun factor? I don't think so.
But we mean like
But you're
enjoyment
sick.
that should be viewed.
For those who enjoy nukes, yes, it should be viewed. But anyway, coming up to a new topic. I'd like to change the topic and discuss about other controversies in anime, such as, is Japanese animation healthy for the American public? Now, we've chosen this topic because over the past few months, there was a show called Pocket Monsters in Japan, which aired an episode that had such an adverse effect on many of its viewers that we are considering if Japanese animation is going to be good for the United States.
Well, one thing that I felt that the media over here in our shores have done is that they've taken this one bad incident and totally blown out of proportion and view anime itself way too critically. One thing that I felt that they shouldn't have done was that they shouldn't have judged Japanese animation together all in general as bad, because it wasn't the fault of this one episode. It was more in the lines of like the responsibilities that were taken by the directors or the producers at the TV studio themselves, and for releasing such a awful thing to a million viewers, dedicated daily viewers of the Japanese children, and sad to say, about 600 of them were hospitalized because of this incident. So I don't understand how, even though there were like a million people that watched it, only about 600 got hospitalized, that they should, blame at Japanese animation altogether.
Oh, okay. I understand what you're trying to get at, I think. Nah, I don't understand what you're trying to get at. What you're trying to say here is that, the Japanese can take losses over cartoons, okay? So millions of people watched Pocket Monsters, and only about less than 1% were actually suffering some adverse effects. I think it was either epileptic shocks or mild seizures that some certain kids had actually been brought about because of that episode. Now, if you're thinking about it, in the United States, okay, that thing just does not happen. Imagine the lawsuits that thing would create, huh?
Well, then again, I wouldn't say that they'll be creating lawsuits because they probably have taken it into precaution. Because as we speak right now, there are rumors that is going on that the American broadcasting studios have gotten the rights to this popular Japanese animation because I guess they're hoping to cash in also on like the merchandising that spawned off because of Pocket Monsters. Because when it first came out in Japan, it was first released as a video game for the Game Boy system, and it sold to a point where it was 7.4 million units. Now
Well,
that's
okay,
a lot of
okay,
video
but
games.
what I'm trying to say is, that the American public, cannot let this thing happen. I mean, no matter how popular this thing is, until some of these bugs needed to be worked out, we cannot possibly have certain kinds of shows like this to be released over here to the United States. That could definitely not be a good thing for people who would watch Japanese anime. I mean, we don't want them to debut in the United States, to make our kids spaz.
Well, then again, taking this into consideration, I'm sure that the American people will take in consideration into preventing this sort of incident, and they will take more responsibility upon its release to the American viewers.
But you're saying that it's the American producers and releasers' job to correct the flaws in Japanese anime. I mean, if Japanese anime was flawed to start with, then I don't think we could be able to modify it well enough to be able to keep the original content that was meant to be conveyed by many of these animators. I mean, come on. Think of some of the things that they regularly watch right now, such as hentai, which is pornographic Japanese anime. And they also have lots of senseless, graphically violent anime out there, such as Angel Cop. Lord knows what the heck that movie was about also. And if you want to also get down to the point here, who's going to watch anime in the United States? In Japan, this was targeted out for young adults and all kinds of levels. While in the United States, most animations targeted for who, Peter? Kids, right? You want your kid wanting to spaz out or being violent?
Well, okay, that's true. The American public do generally view cartoons are just for kids. But the thing is, what Japanese animation does provide is a new horizon for other viewers and to get a chance to target a new audience. Okay, there was this one case of Pocket Monsters being, being bad and unprofessional, in that they did hospitalize a lot of kids. But you can't just take one incident and
But it's not an
ruin.
incident, you see. This thing is a disaster, okay? Because we can't be sending kids off to God knows wherever because of some TV show, I mean, just think of the lawsuits, medical bills in the United States that thing's going to create.
Okay, but you can. Okay, another thing then is that I think that American the public and Japanese are no better at all then in that sense. Whereas
How so?
Okay, why don't you take the cartoon Simpsons or Beavis and Butthead and the critically acclaimed, hyped up so-called South Park that's debuting now, and I can't see it any better than the so-called hentais and those other weird, violent cartoons, where Japanese animation also gives quality animation such as Totoro, or the one that we just reviewed right today, Barefoot Gen.
But, Totoro is targeted for, kids, and Barefoot Gen is definitely for adults. That thing is going to be very hard to convey in the United States, okay? But you do have a point. But one thing I can say is that Beavis and Butthead, The Simpsons, or even South Park did not directly send anybody to the hospital because of watching the show.
Oh, okay, true. That they didn't send a lot of kids to the hospital, but they did have occasionally been considered violent cartoons and have occasionally sent kids who have monkey see, monkey do.
But wait a minute, Japanese animation tops the U.S. in violence.
Well, okay. But then again, American public also tops the Hollywood pictures also tops the highest in violence and.
All right. Well, I understand what you're trying to say. Okay. What I think is they should make some major modifications before they're able to release their kind of animation.
That's true. So it's all about a sense of responsibility
Okay,
of
okay.
how animation should be controlled and how it should be released because I don't see how all animation in general should be considered hostile or dangerous and should be given a chance. Okay, so for closing, we would like to say that.
Oh, we have a phone call.
Oh, we do.
It would seem that we have a phone call.
Hey, how you guys doing?
Hey, howdy.
Who's this we're talking to?
Oh, what? I can't hear you.
Who are we talking to?
Oh, my name's Ray.
What's up, Ray? You got a
Not
question
much.
for us, Ray?
What?
You got a question for us?
Yeah.
All right, spit it out, son.
Hey, how did all this anime stuff start out?
How did this anime stuff start out? Well, I think you should take that one, Mr. History Buff.
Well, I wouldn't call myself a history buff, but thank you. I will answer this question. It seems that animation has been around since the dawn of early Disney, where animation was a form of entertainment of that was different from live action and did give a sense of fantasy. But later on, it became a lot more realistic and expanded its target audience to now current anime that you see it now today. So I would like to say animation itself has been around as long as people have been watching cartoons.
Okay, I'd also like to know that Japanese anime has also been around for a while, and it's going to stay that way, but whether it comes to the U.S. or not, I don't know. They have to change stuff. All right, weren't we going to do something?
Well, yeah, I think that we were about to.
End the show.
Really?
Yes. and
Is
we're
that
gonna end
time?
it.
Oh man.
That's right, Bill.
Time sure flies when you're having fun.
That's
Well,
right.
I guess I would like to. Me and Ruben would like to thank the studio. Oh, okay.
God.
And like to thank the studio, the crew, and for everyone who's been supporting us.
Okay, and not to end the show. Okay, I've been waiting for this all this time. We have in the world of anime a guest band here to perform for you live, and they are Koey and Charles. Hit it.
That makes me feel alive. I don't know how to wake the thing that's deep inside. I only wanna see the light that shines behind your eyes. I hope that I can say the things I wish I'd said, to sing my soul to sleep and take me back to bed. You want to be alone when we could be alive instead. Oh, oh, because we need each other. We believe in another. I know we're gonna uncover sleeping in our soul, because we need each other, one another. I know we're